All right, I'm going to play at a more practice pace. Jacob, would you like to continue The King in Yellow?
Oh yeah, where were we at on that?
I have it bookmarked. We were at chapter 3.
Excellent.
Yeah, Seamus for the Irish character. Also, Wizworld. I know you've mentioned and we've talked both here and on other streams and other chats across the internet sphere about One World Under Doom, the Doctor Doom event going on right now. Full. I should focus on the MAXIMO. What I'm trying to say is, as far as my engagement with One World Under Doom goes, I'm reading the mainline series and like the Ackerman Iron Man and the Oyende Storm series, but I'm not reading every satellite issue of One World Under Doom. Are you? Because I'm kind of curious, if so, how's that going for you? Because I'm going through the mainline series, but I know there's so many satellite issues because it's a big old event. Tragically mixed bag. That's my fear. I am reading, I started reading Doctor Strange of Asgard, and I don't know if I'm going to keep reading it. I was kind of curious because I collect Amazing Spider-Man, even though the quality is kind of bad right now. They're coming up on the 1,000th issue, so I was getting back into it, and I wasn't minding the 8th Death of Spider-Man as far as like a fun video gaming premise goes, and that has some stuff going on with Doctor Doom and Strange that I liked. But yeah, the Doctor Strange of Asgard, Stephen Strange of Asgard, I was kind of underwhelmed by, sadly. And yeah, that is an interesting question to ask. Yeah, no, I pretty much agree with that. I'm, again, pretty much going for it because 8 Deaths I like because of like the Doom shenanigans, and also, again, the aforementioned, they're coming up on an issue 1,000 soon, which I want to be around for. But no, I try to indulge post One More Day Spider-Man, but it's just essentially different than what I think I really like about Spider-Man, which is the sense of continuity and serialization. I don't know. There's like a history to that initial Volume 1 run as far as like it evolves with Marvel as a company and like the superhero's place in pop culture over time. And also just the dedication to continuity for like that many decades creates some interesting pieces of serialized storytelling. But that question about like, do we need superheroes, I think is better kind of addressed right now with what Denise Camp is doing with the Ultimates. This is one I won't shut the hell up about, so just to let you all know, chat, there's currently a reboot of the Ultimates line going on in Marvel, so it's a good starting point if you want no context.
Doom is established universal
Yes, I did read that in One World Under Doom #2. I also really liked that bit about what he did with Baron Zemo and Red Skull in issue 1. I find it interesting that he is just like trying to win over people by popular demands. I'm hoping it's not going to pivot into some weird mixed message about like populist. I think it's good when politicians do things to get people to like them, and I don't want to see that villainized, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly, Wizworld. This is why I'm bringing up Denise Camp's Ultimates run, which if you haven't read comics in a moment, you can start the Ultimates run with like little to no knowledge of the past. All you need to know is there's an evil Reed Richards, and he tucked himself away in a universe where he prevented a lot of superheroes from ever being born. He hopped dimensions. There's an evil Reed Richards. He hopped into a dimension where he could show up in the 1960s and stop the Marvel heroes from being born. And through this setup, what Denise Camp is doing is asking, what would the world look like without superheroes? And a lot of it is like it's the now. It's modern neoliberalism. It's a superstructure of like oligarchs conspiring to manage a global economy in a way that's not best for the working class.
Oh damn.
Yeah, so it's a what-if story where he's like, well, what if superheroes didn't exist? It's like, well, that's what the real world is. Ha-ha.
Oh.
It's very like Planet of the Apes in that sense.
Nice.
But through that, it's been doing some fun stuff where like week by week, the Avengers liberate a new hero or they find a new version of a hero who was supposed to be, because once again, they were all aboard in the 60s. And through that, there's usually some fun, like, social metaphor or pivot point at play. It's really cool comics as commentary shit going on. Particularly stand out, if you can find a copy of it, is issue 9, which I think came out in February. It's about Luke Cage. And it does a lot of cool stuff with the prison industrial complex. And just the political philosophy of slavery and punishment. And not only does it do that on like a writing level, but because Luke Cage is in prison, it uses like the 9-panel kind of traditional comics page with like the 9 panels, so there's crossbars on the page.
Oh,
it uses that to
Yeah.
reflect like the characters stuck in prison and
Yeah.
their kind of state of
Monotony.
mind as they liberate themselves from their mental prison. It's really good shit.
That's really cool.
Yeah. Once again, this is Denise Camp's Ultimates. If you saw the core issues irregular stream where I talked Absolute Martian Manhunter, it's the same writer as Absolute Martian Manhunter, Denise Camp, The Ultimates.
I'll have to give this a look.
And so I bring up that it's doing this social metaphor stuff, which I like, because, again, it's the type of escapism that it's not telling you to bury your head in the sand and that Superman's going to fix everything. It's more saying, like, hey, man, we see that there's a prison industrial complex grind going on, too. We see that there's, like, a confederacy of oligarchs, like, gaming the economy and the politics of the world in such a way. Relief, as Tolkien talks about on fairy tales. It replenishes your soul to know that you are not alone. And, that's something David Foster Wallace, Infinite Jest, mass media, the purpose of all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Human condition going through it. SpongeBob's place. Yeah.
Yeah, the
Keep up.
She-Hulk stuff. I was a little skeptical at first because I really love She-Hulk as a concept and it was pretty radical. But I was like, no, I see the vision. It's good. Plus, it's the Ultimate Universe. Like, I also really love the Peach Momoko take on the X-Men. That one was a slow start for me, but I've loved the last 2 or 3 issues. Just it's paid off, and I went back and kind of reread the first 10. Back to back, and it felt better reading it that way than it did 1 month at a time. On the note of She-Hulk, I haven't watched Daredevil. Has anyone watched Daredevil in the chat? I keep hearing good things about Born Again, but
Right.
I think Daredevil and She-Hulk are very huge missed opportunities in the sense that both of them could have been like the perfect procedural 24 season, half hour, 40-minute Law and Order style, Columbo style episode of the week, like broadcast shows more than streaming format stuff.
Wizworld has the opposite opinion of Born Again.
Okay, cool, because let me tell you, Wizworld, I only like the back half of Daredevil season 1, and I did like Daredevil season 3, which was cribbing from the comic Born Again a lot. Didn't like Daredevil season 2. I haven't felt the urge to rewatch it on binge. Although when like my roommate was rewatching on binge, I did peek some of season 3 because it's fun. Oh, that just sucks. Yeah, that sounds inconsistent as hell. Sorry to hear that.
Yeah. They did a St. Patrick's Day special.
That's a shame that the quality is going down, because the thing is, like, while he's not as while he doesn't have your sympathy as fast or as instantly, while you don't get his deal as quick as Peter Parker's, I think Daredevil is one of the most like consistent like characters for like a serial story engine. Maybe the most consistent character for a serial story engine that like Marvel has in their arsenal, which is why I say he would have like killed as like a Columbo like or a Law and Order like, you know, just traditional broadcast TV. They could have done a lot with Daredevil, and same with She-Hulk, which should not have been a 9-issue series. She should have 9-episode thing. Like,
Yeah.
if she was a weekly, just like goofy kind of like use of like, well, we're going to explore this inconsistency in the movie logic of the MCU. It would require too much understanding or too much consistency within the MCU to do She-Hulk the way I think it should have been done, is what I'm saying. But like she could have served as like a comedic kind of lighthearted exploration of like the inconsistent or dissonant aspects of the Marvel Cinematic Universe as presented through like conflicting movie narratives.
Yeah. They have Funko Pops in this.
Yeah, Shulky was fun and felt like it was being held back. It's the only one of those streaming series is from the Disney side that I like actually watched all the way through. I couldn't
it was good.
Falcon and the Winter Soldier. No, I did do WandaVision, but I loathed it just because when WandaVision dropped the decade by decade thing halfway through and lost all pretense of being any kind of experiment and just became a regular TV show, that kind of broke my brain in a way where I was like, no, I need to see this through now. Like, I really like too that She-Hulk was kind of a petition to the fans in terms of like, hey, can we like get rid of like the Jungian hero structure and just kind of like have a fun show where we go on adventures?
Yeah. It's like finally a fun time.
And the fans
fun
said
characters.
no.
Yeah, they didn't want that. Like, I don't know what else you want with She-Hulk.
I think she's more compelling than the Hulk as far as like what you can do with that character.
Yeah, well, they really just only do one thing with the Hulk, and he's just kind of very boring at this point for me.
See, I find that interesting because I also don't find the Hulk appealing, but I know he was kind of a bread and butter character back in the day.
Yeah,
Like,
people love the Hulk, and I'm like, is that just like American machismo? Like,
yeah, it's interesting because
He's just big.
before they really hit it off with the movies, the three biggest, like, the kind of the big Marvel characters were Spider-Man, Wolverine, and the Hulk.
so yeah, he's
Also
big.
the Fantastic Four. Like, keep in mind that's why like Fox bought those characters and Sony wanted those characters.
Yeah, true. He's big and he's smash. Yeah, I mean, but I want there to be like a third thing. You know, just like a third thing, other than being green.
I feel like there's Frankenstein shit to the Hulk that is good. Like, I can think of like scenarios where like the Hulk's dynamic. I just haven't ever really heard a good sale. Although like World War Hulk and stuff and Planet Hulk, I get.
I had fun with the Edward Norton Hulk.
But yeah, Hulk as an idea, I think definitely hits something in the public conscious because, I mean, yeah, anger. Externalizing your anger, feeling like you become someone else when you're angry. Like, I get the human connection there.
It had like a nearly syndicated TV show like back in like the
Yeah, Lou Ferrigno himself.
Yeah, and that is just mind blowing because again, man gets angry. Like Columbo, I understand why there's so many different episodes of a show with a character who is like solving mysteries, and I'm like,
I mean, I
Or was he
remember,
gonna get
I remember,
mean?
like, he would, save kids from their abusive dads, or like solve crimes, or like family issues going on, or interpersonal conflicts going on from
Oh,
town
for
to
sure.
town.
Definitely like the problem of the week. But how far we've strayed with like the new Marvel? Like, is this what we're gonna get in?
Yeah, it is
Something
interesting
like-
how much the total opposite of that, like a Marvel show is now. We've gone, of course, obviously, like, production styles, corporate demands, et cetera, et cetera. But just the complete inverse of like, this thing is, the superhero elements are such that we need to make sure they're grounded in human because people might not know what we're talking about, to like, we need this to explain how 3 other movies are connected.
Yeah. Do they have a show in the Marvel universe where it's just people cleaning up after all the superhero stuff yet, or like, it's like being a civilian in that world?
Vincent D'Onofrio's Wilson Fisk is very good.
I love Vincent D'Onofrio and like everything. I don't think I've ever seen him do anything bad.
Oh, they should give him a Kingpin movie. You know what? Can we make that happen? Hey, Marvel, it was cool? The Penguin. People really liked the Penguin. You know what you have that's better than the Penguin? Vincent D'Onofrio as Kingpin in The Kingpin. You know what's cool about the Kingpin? He can fight Spider-Man, and he can fight Daredevil, and he could fight Luke Cage. He can fight all the street. He's a street level villain. God, this wizard, you're killing me, wizard. You're killing me.
This mother-
I'm sorry. I'm getting very excited about a Sopranos-like Kingpin show now. Even though I was like one of the first people to be all like, I don't care for a Sopranos-like Penguin show.
Hey man, it was a fun one.
And then surprisingly, I was like, oh no, they actually like made him a villain, and they're not just. That's what I liked about the Penguin show, which I hope a Kingpin show would be good at doing as well. Is like they don't try to give him a tragic, sympathetic side. Like he does become
he's just evil.
By the end of the show, you're like, right, this is a Batman villain.
Yeah, he's still bad.
He's a bad guy.
He's only
it
looking
makes
out for
sense that
himself.
he would do that bad thing.
Throw that shield. Smack them bitches.
Yeah, my shield's broken. Dang, Kingpin, the TV show.
Like, I would watch it. I like Vincent D'Onofrio. Why aren't these guys really affected by this dump? There we go.
You could even do like, oh, it's an alt-universe Kingpin, and he actually crushes his opponents, and so he's stronger than some other dimensional Kingpin, and they just pull that one into the MCU. Marvel, hire me.
Do it.
I bring this up though because like one of the fun things is in that Denise camp, Jonathan Hickman helped set it up, the ultimate continuity where there's no superheroes. There's still some villains, and one of them is the Kingpin, and that's because, oh yeah, like there's a lot of villains like in Spider-Man's Rogues Gallery that only exist because Spider-Man kind of goaded them on. Like, they did one crime and then Spider-Man did something and they were like, I want a suit and a gimmick too. But Kingpin wasn't one of those. He was always going to be, I want to be the king of crime. Like, doesn't matter if it's Daredevil fighting me, doesn't matter if it's Spider-Man fighting me. Yeah.
He wants them all.
Yeah.
Ultimate Spidey from last week.
Yeah, he's real scary now. This is what I'm like circling around to, is like, so Kingpin will show up in the Ultimate Universe. So Spider-Man was never created in this universe in the 60s. Peter Parker, there's a Marvel sliding scale of time. I don't want to have to go explain all this bullshit. Basically, Peter Parker didn't get bit as a teenager. So like, Kraven the Hunter, Kraven the Hunter's still around. That's a bad one, because Kraven the Hunter also, underrated Spider-Man villain, I'll get into sometime. But like, so because Kingpin is just a crime lord and there's no superheroes to stop him, he's not just still around because, he was going to come up anyways. He is very effective and very strong because like there's been no Daredevil, no Spider-Man, no Punisher, there haven't been street level heroes to keep him in check.
Nice.
So he's just like a very effective and very scary corporate crime monger. He owns the Daily Bugle, and Wizworld mentioned in the chat, he does something very scary in last week's Ultimate Spider-Man as far as like Uncle Ben and J. Jonah Jameson are trying to like take him down ethically and from the through the proper means
channels.
or through like the integral citizen journalist means that they think that are good and ethical.
Yeah.
And they just got a lot of people killed because of that. It's almost like their great responsibility moment. I love it.
Oh, that's kind of great.
Yeah, because in this continuity, Peter Parker was never bitten by the spider. He never tried to be Spider-Man as a teenager. Uncle Ben didn't die. Uncle Ben's still alive, and like so, Peter Parker's 35, and he has a healthy relationship with his Uncle Ben. And then he gets bit by the spider.
Interesting. And he married Jane Parker?
Yeah, he married Mary Jane as well. They have kids.
Nice.
It's great stuff.
Destroy it. Oh no. Nice. Really gotta show those guys up.
Yeah, thanks for stopping by, WizWorld.
Yeah, thanks for swinging,
Great
WizWorld.
chatting about comics with you.
Yeah.